Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's often said at a funeral, Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai V'orach, that God's given, God's taken away, praise be the name of God. It's a powerful statement that runs exactly in line with how people feel, but unfortunately I think doesn't speak to a reality that's actually true. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, that God's given, God's taken away, is said to a person who has just lost a relative. That is to say that that person was a gift to you in your life. You enjoyed that person while they were part of your life, and now that they have passed, they're no longer with you. And then I always say to people in that moment, but it's not true. Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, that God gives and God takes away. But the truth is, having a loved one in your life is a gift that keeps on giving, long after they're gone. We feel the presence of those we love around us, even if they've passed away. As my father would often say, they inform our decisions. They direct us in the choices and the paths we pursue in life. We forever hear them speaking to us in our ears. And so the phrase Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach, that God's given, God's taken away, isn't completely true, because we continue to feel their presence in our lives. And this week's Parsha has many poignant moments. The first of which is when Abraham comes to eulogize his wife. Lispod et Sarah v'livkota, says the text, that he comes to eulogize her and he weeps. And if you look in the text of the Torah, the word v'livkota has a very small kaf in it. Some would say that the reason is it was originally left out and then they tried to squeeze it in order to fit the word properly, v'livkota. I've always felt that it's that way because it kind of gets caught in your throat. That's what happens when you start to eulogize someone you love and you begin to weep. The words get caught in your throat. And so the text there gives us an indication of the severe loss that Abraham has. And we recognize that while Abraham's life continues on and he marries again and he has more children, in the end of his days, he's buried with Sarah, as if to suggest that was his rightful place, alongside Sarah. And there is this wonderful moment right before Abraham passes away. And the text says as follows, Vayitein Avraham et kol asher lo liyitzchak. Abraham gave everything he had to Isaac. V'livnei habrashim asher Avraham natan Avraham matanot. Right? And for the rest of his children, Abraham gave them gifts. Vishalchem me'al Yitzchak beno, and then he sent them away. He gave them gifts. Rashi has a comment on Vayitein Avraham, the first half of the phrase that God Abraham gave Isaac everything. Rashi says the following, quoting from the Gemara, he says, She'amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu LaAvraham ve'yeh bracha. Habrachot misurot bi'adecha levarech et mi shetirtzeh. Ve'Avraham masran liYitzchak. That Abraham was gifted by God with extraordinary blessings, and then once he had those blessings, it was his to give. And he chose to give those blessings to Isaac. V'chol asher lo, everything that he had wasn't about material possessions. It was about the gifts of blessing. The idea that in our lives we can feel as though we are blessed is the gift that God gave Abraham, and then Abraham in turn gave to Isaac. And that is, he gave him an attitude about life. He didn't give him material possessions. And if we don't know that for sure, then we look at Ibn Ezra's comment, which is truly a super commentary on the Rashi, in which he says, Matanot, what are the gifts that Abraham gave to the other children? Mamonam natan lahem. He gave them money. He gave them material possessions. If you didn't understand from Rashi's understanding, his explanation of what the gifts were that he gave to that Abraham gave to Isaac, at least you'll understand what his gifts were to the other children. He gave them money, possessions, material objects. He gave them a watch. Maybe he gave them a Kiddush cup. Maybe he left them his library. But what he gave Isaac was something intangible, and that's a sense of belief that life is good. It's filled with blessings. You can go through life, of course, like Abraham did, with challenges and obstacles, and walk through life and believe that life is hard and impossible. Or you can walk through life as Abraham did and believe that those weren't obstacles, those were opportunities. You can feel blessed. And that attitude is what he gave to his son Isaac, says the text of Rashi. But it's the Zohar, the mystical compilation, that offers me even greater insight. And that is what Abraham had acquired in his life, more than the massive wealth, was a sense of a belief in the Almighty. And so the text of the Zohar says, they said, as a person is drawn in this world, so is he drawn when departing the world. Whatever he clings to and is drawn to in this world, so too in that world. If someone seeks out holiness in this world, they will be granted holiness in the next world. If one seeks out defilement in this world, they will have defilement in the world to come. And so says the Zohar, Brichu ben Ino Sha'ar Melachim, that Abraham assumed his place among the angels because that was the life he sought in this world. And so the reward was to find himself amongst the angels in the world to come. Chulaka kadshi bin Dahure da'itabak be'Avraham. And the heritage, the holy heritage of Abraham, was the heritage of faith, says the Zohar. He had acquired in his life the gift of faith, and that's what he passed on to Isaac. We live in a world in which it's hard to believe. Sometimes it's hard to believe in others. Sometimes it's hard to believe in ourselves. And certainly in this world, it's often difficult to believe in the Almighty. An article appeared in the New York Times last year, right on Erev Christmas, about how many Americans don't believe in God, but still celebrate Christmas. They do so because it's a cultural connection, not necessarily a statement of faith. I say to you this morning something very simple, and that is faith can be acquired, as Abraham taught us, but faith can also be handed down, as Isaac had acquired it. He acquired it as a gift from his father. We all bear tremendous gifts in this world. And I pray that each and every one of us is able to find a sense of belief, faith in other human beings, that they'll do what's right. They'll speak truth in their heart. I also pray that in our lives we're able to find our own personal truth and have belief in that as well, to recognize that we are created Be'Elohim Nivra Adam, in the image of God. And so therefore we have extraordinary value in and of ourselves, that we learn to have faith in ourselves. But finally, and possibly even more important, that we recognize that the Eibishter, the Almighty, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, has and always will be in existence. And that we can have faith in that God, a force that is in control of the universe, a force that has a plan and sets it in motion, and that we are a part of that plan. If I could give one gift as a rabbi, it would be that. And that is a sense of belief in the Almighty, a sense that there is a God above us that has us in God's prayers. So, Adonai Natan v'Adonai Lakach. God gives and God takes away. But the true gifts of faith and commitment, of dedication, of loyalty, those are real blessings that God never takes away. And I pray that we feel our entire lives. Shabbat Shalom. Page 183. Page 184, Chatzi Kaddish, please rise.